Krebs cycle is also known as the Hans-Krebs cycle or the citric acid cycle. Now, Hans, after the scientist who discovered it, Hans Adolf Krebs in 1937, and received a Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine in 1953. Now, this cycle is also known as the citric acid cycle after the molecule that plays the central role in Krebs cycle, the citric acid, also known as the citrate. The citric acid cycle is a key metabolic pathway that connects carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolisms. The TCA cycle is a central pathway into which many metabolites feed. It consists of a number of reactions which generate NADH and FADH2, which are in turn used to generate ATPs. The Krebs cycle consists of a series of chemical reactions that release stored energy of fats, carbohydrates, and proteins through the chemical process of oxidation. Other than being the central pathway for generation of energy, the Krebs cycle is also very important as it provides many raw materials that are used elsewhere in the body, like amino acids and NADH. An interesting fact about the Krebs cycle is that it was one of the earliest established components of cellular metabolism and may have originated abiogenically, meaning it originated even before the life started. This is the concept of abiogenesis, that the life originated from non-living things. Get the lecture handouts from this video and all other videos on Med Simplified. Join our community at patreon.com or click the join button below. Now, before diving into all the chemical names, the enzymes, and the various steps of Krebs cycle, I would like to take a few minutes to talk about the conceptual basis of Krebs cycle that most teachers fail to explain. So, like I told you, Krebs cycle is a central metabolic pathway. Now, what do you mean by a central metabolic pathway? Now see, when we eat food, it is digested, absorbed, and is first processed by initial metabolic pathways. These initial metabolic pathways generate some common products that are used by the central pathway, like the Krebs cycle, to produce energy. Like if we take the example of carbohydrates, carbohydrates are digested into simple sugars like glucose, and the glucose is first processed by initial metabolic pathways like glycolysis. Glycolysis produces pyruvate, and similar products are produced by the initial metabolism of fats and proteins as well. The pyruvate is then fed into the central pathway, that is the Krebs cycle. So the Krebs cycle provides a central pathway that connects carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolisms. Now the next important concept is how does the Krebs cycle produce energy? For this, let's take the example of metabolism of carbohydrates again. We get simple sugars at the end of digestion of carbohydrates like glucose, right? And after this, glucose undergoes through all the metabolic pathways like glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport chain. One molecule of glucose produces approximately 36 ATPs. But where does this energy come from? The single-worded answer to this question is through the chemical process of oxidation. Now see, what happens is that through glycolysis and an additional reaction, we break down glucose into small 2-carbon fragments which are known as acetate. This acetate is then fed into the Krebs cycle. If you look at the Krebs cycle, it consists of these 10 intermediate molecules that start and end with citrate. When we add acetate to this cycle, this is a 2-carbon compound, This cycle takes a full turn and releases 2 molecules of carbon dioxide as a waste product, meaning the 2 carbons that we added in the form of acetate are released in the form of carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is produced due to the process of oxidation that occurs in the Krebs cycle as a result of various enzymes. Electrons are added to NAD to make NADH and FAD to make FADH. These electrons are then subsequently used in the electron transport chain to make ATP through ionic gradients. Now all of this may seem a bit confusing in the beginning, but my advice is to take things slowly. Watch the other videos regarding glycolysis, electron transport chain and metabolism of fats on our channel to have a complete understanding of this metabolic pathway. The links to all these videos are in the description below. Meanwhile, let's begin with the details of the Krebs cycle and various enzymes involved. So in eukaryotic cells, the citric acid cycle occurs in the matrix of the mitochondria. In the prokaryotic cells such as bacteria which lack mitochondria, the citric acid cycle is performed in the cytosol. Now there is a very important reason why a Krebs cycle takes place in the center of the mitochondria. This is because of the presence of the electron transport chain in the membrane of the mitochondria. This electron transport chain is a chain of many different enzymes that uses the products formed in the Krebs cycle to produce energy in the form of ATP. Now to learn more effectively about the Krebs cycle, it is very important that you have a little bit of background knowledge about the preceding steps that happen before Krebs cycle. So the Krebs cycle begins with this molecule, acetyl-CoA. But where does this come from and what is its role in the Krebs cycle? This is very important to understand. Now one of the important biochemical pathways that runs before the Krebs cycle is glycolysis. In this pathway we break down glucose, which is a 6-carbon compound, into 2 molecules of pyruvate, which is a 3-carbon compound. What happens next is that this pyruvate is acted upon by a set of enzymes collectively known as the pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. In this reaction, coenzyme A is also involved, which is a coenzyme derived from vitamin B5. In this reaction, 2 carbons are transferred from the pyruvate to coenzyme A to form the acetyl-CoA. One additional carbon present in the pyruvate is lost in the form of carbon dioxide. In this reaction, 1 molecule of NADH is also produced. So this is how acetyl-CoA is produced from pyruvate. This acetyl-CoA is a 2-carbon compound and is the starting point of Krebs cycle. In this molecule, the coenzyme A, the part which is derived from vitamin B5, acts just like a carrier which transfers the 2 carbons attached to it to the Krebs cycle. So the first step of the Krebs cycle is the combination of acetyl-CoA with oxaloacetate. Like I told you, acetyl-CoA is a 2-carbon compound, and this 2-carbon compound combines with oxaloacetate, which has 4 carbons. This combination leads to formation of citrate, which is a 6-carbon compound, and this reaction is made possible by the enzyme citrate synthase. The name of this enzyme is self-explanatory for what it does. The citrate then undergoes a series of enzyme catalyzed reactions in which it loses the 2 carbons of acetyl-CoA in the form of 2 molecules of carbon dioxide. The conversions, which involve up to 10 chemical reactions, are all brought about by enzymes which use the energy generated through oxidation to attach electrons to NAD and FAD. Now let's look at what happens next with citrate. In the next two reactions, the citrate is converted into its isomer, which is known as isocitrate. Both these reactions, which I have shown with just one arrow, are catalyzed by the enzyme aconitase. Now this is an iron-containing enzyme which reorganizes the atoms of citrate to form an isomer isocitrate. Now you may ask, what was the need to convert citrate into isocitrate? Why can't the citrate just move forward with the pathway? Well, the answer to that is that the arrangement of atoms in the isocitrate is better suited for the next few oxidation reduction reactions that are about to come in the Krebs cycle. In the isomerization of citrate to isocitrate, an intermediate is also generated which is known as cis-aconitate, but no need to go into the details of that. Moving on to the next step in the Krebs cycle. In the next step, the isocitrate is converted into alpha-ketoglutarate by the enzyme isocitrate dehydrogenase. Now we come to the first of the four oxidation reduction reactions in the citric acid cycle. These oxidation reduction reactions are the one which produce energy in Krebs cycle. And all of these four reactions use enzymes in them which are known as dehydrogenases. Now, what do these dehydrogenases do and how do they produce energy? That is very important for you to understand. See, if you look at the term itself, dehydrogenase, this literally means removal of hydrogen. So, dehydrogenases are basically enzymes that remove hydrogen from a molecule. Now, as you remember that removal of hydrogen is also known as oxidation. And the hydrogen that is removed from one molecule must be passed on to some other molecule. The other molecule that receives the hydrogen gets reduced in return. So this is the basic mechanism of action of dehydrogenases. They remove hydrogen group from one molecule, oxidizing it, and in turn attaching that hydrogen group to some other molecule, leading to its reduction. This is why the reactions carried out by dehydrogenases are known as oxidation reduction reactions. So coming back to our Krebs cycle, we reached a point in Krebs cycle where isocitrate will now be acted upon by the enzyme isocitrate dehydrogenase. So let's look at what happens in this reaction. This is actually a two-step reaction in which the enzyme isocitrate dehydrogenase first removes hydrogen from isocitrate, thus oxidizing it. The hydrogen that is removed is attached to NAD to form the NADH, thus completing the process of oxidation and reduction. But there is a small additional step that happens next, which is catalyzed by the same enzyme isocitrate dehydrogenase. In the next step of the reaction, a carbon atom is also removed from isocitrate in the form of a molecule of carbon dioxide. This leads to the formation of a 5-carbon compound known as alpha-ketoglutarate. So if you look at the complete chemical process that just happened here, this is known as the oxidative decarboxylation. Oxidative because oxidation of isocitrate takes place since a hydrogen is removed from isocitrate, and decarboxylation as a carbon group is also removed from isocitrate. The conversion of isocitrate into alpha-ketoglutarate is followed by a second oxidative decarboxylation.